Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video here at my YouTube channel. Today I'm taking part in a blog hop for Pretty Pink Posh. They have some brand new dies and different sequins or little confetti bits that they've just released, and I'm going to play with one of the dies and some confetti pieces today. I'm starting out by creating kind of a watercolor background, and instead of using traditional watercolor paints or even Distress ink pads, I'm going to be using Distress ink reinkers. And this is because I wanted the background to be very concentrated in color, and one of the best ways to do this is to use these super pigmented reinkers. The liquid reinker is just super vibrant and saturated, and it's one of the best ways to get a completely bright, vibrant image without having to keep adding on layers and layers of color. So as you see here, as I add that color, it just starts spreading like crazy, and it's super, super bright. This color is Worn Lipstick. Next, I'm going to be bringing in some Mustard Seed, sort of a duller yellowish color. Then I'm going to bring in some Evergreen Bough, a really nice green color. It's very, very green from the reinker. It almost has more of a dusty bluish green when you stamp it, but the thing you have to realize with these reinkers is that the color is so pigmented that as you add it to your project, it's just going to be super, super strong. So I added those on, and then I lifted up my board here and started moving things around. I did tape my watercolor paper down to this board so that as I work, the paper, it doesn't become warped or start to curl, because I need it flat so I can keep working. I added some more Worn Lipstick up in that top corner. I wanted it to mix with the chipped sapphire a little bit just to see if it would create a little bit of a purple color. And it did create a little bit of purple. I'm going to take my spray bottle here and mist this just to get a little more water going, and it will make all those colors start to move a little bit more. The thing that's really neat about Distress ink is it's formulated to work with water. So as you add water, that's when the magic happens. So as you'll see, I'm kind of tipping my board back and forth, and it's getting those colors to soften on the edges and kind of mix a little bit more. And this is the kind of the effect that I want. Adding some more Mustard Seed in that bottom corner. And then I'm going to take my heat tool and start drying it. And you'll notice that as I move the heat tool around, that there's so much moisture and water on this that it starts to move the color around. And I got some really cool effects that way as well. So after I had that completely dry, took my spray bottle and sprayed some water into the palm of my hand. And then I'm letting it drip out of my hand and onto the watercolor. Because this Distress ink works so well with water, as it becomes wet, it reactivates, and all of that ink color is sort of pushed to the edges of the water droplets. The water almost acts like a bleach. And you can do a similar effect with bleach, but it's super messy and smelly, and who wants to do that? So I'm doing it just with regular water, and I'm also tipping my board back and forth, and it gets that water moving, and it grabs that color and makes it so more color is picked up in the water droplets. So I went from it was a very pretty background with lots of color, but it was all very kind of smooth, and now I've added these water droplets, and it adds quite a bit of texture, and I really love that look. So I'm going to dry this again, and then come back in and do the same thing by spraying my hand and then flicking water onto the watercolor piece. And this is going to give me a few more little water droplets. I wanted just smaller droplets on this round, so I'm tipping my board back and forth, getting that color moving, and then picking it up with my paper towel. And I just love how this turned out. I think it looks really, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and dry that with my heat tool until it's completely dry. And then I'll peel off that tape that's holding it down to the board. I'm going to be cutting this piece down to a smaller size, but I am going to be able to save any bits and pieces that I cut off. So this is the die that I'm using. This is the Stitched Duo 3 die from Pretty Pink Posh, and I've cut it down to be just slightly larger than this large die. And the pieces that I cut off, I've still got quite a bit of color, so I could actually use these on some other cards, so I'm going to keep those. And now I'm going to take a piece of clear acetate, and I'm going to be die cutting it with this die cut from Pretty Pink Posh, or with the die from Pretty Pink Posh. Just run that through my die cutting machine. And then I'm going to take this clear piece, And I'm going to be placing it on top of my watercolor panel, and I'm going to sew it on top almost like a pocket. So I took that to my sewing machine and I just sewed around the sides and the very bottom, so I left the top open. And now I'm going to take some of those confetti pieces from Pretty Pink Posh. They have these really pretty gold hearts, and I'm going to be putting these inside the pocket. This is essentially creating a more flat shaker card. The contents inside will be able to move around and they will shake a little bit, but it's definitely much more flat than your traditional shaker card, and it also holds those sequence pieces or the little confetti pieces in place a little bit more than a regular shaker card would. I'm going to add some sparkling clear smaller sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. And then I took it to my sewing machine and very carefully sewed around that top curved edge. And I'm not so good at sewing on a curved edge, but I did the best I could. And it turned out really nice, and it locks all of those pieces inside. For the greeting on this card, I'm going to be using this die from Mama Elephant. This is the Thanks die. And I'm going to die cut that out of some Basil Marshmallow cardstock. And then because that die cut is just the perfect size, I'm going to run this through my Xyron Create Sticker machine. And this is going to add adhesive all on the back side of this die cut. It's a really great way to put some of these scripty words on your cards if it fits in the machine. I don't have a bigger Xyron, I just have the smaller one. So sometimes my die cuts are too big, but this one was the perfect size. So I just peeled off the front where I had all the adhesive and then put it straight down onto this pocket here that I've created. The last thing to do is to create the card base. So I'm going to be using some Simon Says Stamp Fog cardstock. It's going to be a top folding card, so I'm scoring it at 5.5 and then folding it down. And then I took some foam adhesive and put that all on the back of the watercolor piece and then press that down directly onto the card front. So as I said before, this card is part of a blog hop, so feel free to head over to my blog and hop along and see all the other projects using these new products. Hope you guys enjoyed today's card video. I will be back tomorrow for another Friday Focus video, and until then, happy crafting, and I hope to see you guys soon. On screen right now are 3 more watercolor or distress ink videos for you to check out, so feel free to watch those. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking that subscribe button in the top corner. I would greatly appreciate it. And you can also visit my blog at kwarnerdesign.com. You can catch me on social media at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. And once again, thanks so much for watching.